Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a deadline stream. The Game Week 27 deadline stream, unfortunately, we were having a bit of a technical difficulty, so that did not happen. And then this week, there was a lot of things in my personal life going on, so only managed to put out the transfer plans video. But we have today's deadline stream to kind of fill you guys in on what I'm thinking about with my team. And yeah, there's lots to go through right now. Lots of injury updates, lots of things happening in the forward positions. And yeah, I mean, planning ahead for Game Week 29, blank Game Week 29, is also going to be important. Right, so that's what we're going to discuss today. And also captaincy as well, right? Because captaincy is Salah as well as Palmer, probably going to be the most debated topic for the Game Week 28 deadline stream. We'll put up a captaincy poll in a while to kind of get thoughts from you guys, whether you think you'll be captaining Salah or Palmer. All right, so hopefully you guys are ready for Game Week 28. If you are, please do drop a like on the stream. And yeah, let's get started. Let me just say hi to some of you guys in the chat. All right, Arthur, nice to see you. Thought I was busy for the wedding. Yes, I mean, I'm still planning for my wedding. It is still happening, but it's just that the preparations right now are getting more. I mean, we're reaching the point where the wedding is coming up very soon, so we have to start planning in more detail. So basically that's just what's been happening the past few days, but FPL is still gonna go on, so we still have to have this Game Week 28 deadline stream. Davies family says, hi Leon, would you play Dango, Rogers and Gakpo, or sell Cunha to Larson to help fund Haaland for 29, or just go Cunha to Vissa in Cunha to Wissa, and in 29 get Marmoush and Rogers to Bruno. Wow. Dango, Rogers, and Gakpo. I think Gakpo right now is a bit of a risk. We don't really know whether he's going to play. And Arne Slot himself is also going to make a late decision. So my thoughts is Cunha to Larson to free up funds for Haaland. I mean, I do think actually that you could entertain the thoughts of selling Gakpo if you're not confident that he starts. And Haaland for Game Week 29 as well. Like, I know a lot of people are going there, but what I'd say also is that I don't see Brighton against Man City being a game that is going to see a lot of joy for the City attackers. So I know a lot of people are talking about bringing Haaland in or Marmoush in. I mean, I'm also looking at that myself, but I would just kind of temper my expectations on what I expect the Man City and Brighton game to be. Great as you says, hey Leon, good to see you this week. Thanks everyone for the warm welcome back. I know I have been missing for quite a bit. Joshua as well. Ricky, nice to see you in the chat. Dominique, Hafizi, Jensen, Random Penguin, Puneet, Resting Pilgrim. Thank you all of you guys for coming down early. Would you start Pedro ahead of Rogers? For this week, I mean, the thing is, Pedro recently did really well in Game Week 27, so a lot of people are, even entertaining the thoughts of bringing him back in. Brighton do have Fulham. Aston Villa will have Brentford. So I honestly think, I mean, when it comes to penalties, you would expect that João Pedro would have them. And I do think he starts as well. So I don't think that's too much of a worry. Whether you expect Fulham to keep Brighton out, I mean, Brighton are playing really well right now. I think I might start João Pedro ahead of Rogers, I might just do that. Wood or Isak? I mean, if you have Isak right now, I'm sure you keep him. If you don't have him, I don't think there's any rush to bring him in right now. So if it's between bringing one in right now, I think it'd probably be Wood. if there's a forward right now, like if I was forced to make a forward transfer, I think I'm pretty sure I would bring Chris Wood in. The only thing with my team this week, and the reason why I haven't brought Chris Wood in, is because I have Waneri on the bench, and also Isak seems like he's trained the whole week now. So maybe he's not that big of a worry that I initially expected. So if he plays, if Isak plays, and Waneri comes in for Mateta, then I have 11 playing players. I can delay my decision on how I want to get to 11 players for Game Week 29 to next week. Right, so I basically just delay my transfer, and even if I bring Chris Wood in this week, it's against Man City. I don't see any real rush to kind of go out and do that. So my team for this week is likely going to look something like Waneri in for Mateta, and my biggest decision would probably be, biggest decision would probably be just the captaincy, right? Whether I go Salah or Palmer, right? On that, let me just put up a poll in the captaincy, in the chat. Do I even need to put someone else aside from Palmer and Salah? Game week 28, captaincy poll. Let's do Salah against Southampton, Palmer against Leicester, other. All right. Let's see your votes in the poll regarding captaincy. I'm genuinely interested. I would think Salah is still the standout, but I think there's a lot of worry recently about whether he's going to play the full game, whether he'll be rested, taken off early, because he will be playing Paris Saint-Germain midweek. Is Salah gonna start? I would assume he still starts. That's the thing, right? Like, I do believe that Salah will start. I don't think there's been a game this season where they've needed to kind of, I mean, yes, granted, PSG is quite difficult, but my expectation is still that Salah can start this game and be taken off around the 70th minute if Liverpool are truly cruising. Yeah, but my expectation is Salah will start. Beto, Semenyo, Raul, Rogers, start 3, bench 1. I like Beto for this week, actually. Right, so it's between Semenyo, Raul Jimenez, and Rogers. I might bench Raul Jimenez out of those 3. Resting Program says, what do you think of the idea of transferring out Salah in 29, not getting him back for the rest of the season, as we are likely to captain other players? So I've seen a couple of people on Twitter discussing about the possibility of going without Salah. And I get where they're coming from. But the truth is that for this stretch, right, like after game week 29, basically, for this stretch, like not having Salah is not going to be a good pill to swallow, is what I'd say. Like it wouldn't be a comfortable position by any means. Even though he only has a single game week in majority of these weeks, because Liverpool is not expected to double in any of these weeks that I just highlighted. So that's the reason why a lot of people are saying that maybe you take the money and put it elsewhere onto doublers. But the truth is, on a game week 31 or game week 30 wildcard, I would still try to include Salah. At least that's my own position. And yeah, I mean, looking at the way he performed this season, it's perfectly viable for him to in a single game week, for him to outscore someone with 2 fixtures. So I think there is valid consideration to be given to that, but I just say that I would tend towards having him. When is Man City versus Brighton? Man City versus Brighton is in game week 29. Crew Ploppy, nice to see you. Random Penguin, nice to see you as well. Sydney Machuki says, who do I start? Gakpo, Robinson, or Dango? I think out of those three, I would take a chance on Gakpo and have Robinson and Dango on the bench. But I'd have Dango ahead of Robinson on the bench. Sep Gold says, good morning everyone. Made a rash decision to replace Cunha and Vissa. Is it worth taking a hit for Haaland next week or free in game week 30? Yeah, again, I mean, with the Man City versus Brighton game in game week 29, I actually don't think that's going to be very straightforward for Man City. So I would actually lean towards getting Haaland for free if that was your question. Best replacement for Cunha, is it Vissa? I have Isak, Wood, and Cunha right now. So you have Wood already. So I think Vissa is actually not the best replacement, second best replacement for Cunha. The first or the best replacement for Cunha, if you didn't have Wood, would have been Chris Wood. Then after that, further down the list, I think I would have Marmoush, Beto, and even Strand Larsen. Like, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to delay my decision of getting a forward option this week, because Wolves actually do have a pretty good run. It's just that Cunha is out, right? So I still do expect that they score a couple of goals over the next few weeks, and you would expect that Strand Larsen is the one. So yeah, I mean, up there as one of those first few four replacements that I would look at. Beto, after Wood, there's Beto, Marmoush, as well as Strand Larsen. Captain Munoz. Probably wouldn't do that. Yeah, Salah against Southampton is still the standout for a lot of people. I think especially after Cole Palmer pretty much blanked against Southampton, people don't really want to go to Cole Palmer. Start Robinson away at Brighton or Neco Williams home to City. I go Robinson away to Brighton. Timber or Ed Nuri for this week. I would go. It's tricky. Manchester United away. I mean, it could always go either ways with Manchester United. You never know what team's going to turn up. I have to still back the Arsenal defense though, so I'll probably still go Timber ahead of Ed Nuri. Does Kirker start in my team? I've got Munoz, Gabriel, and Trent in my defense. The rest of my team is the same as yours, besides Marmoush for Mateta and Clivert for Bowen. If you have Munoz, Gabriel, and Trent, I don't think Kirker starts in your team. I think he's on your bench. Bowen, Clivert, and Chris Wood, bench one. Oh, that is tricky. That is tricky. Bowen, Clivert, and Chris Wood. Just about. I mean, I don't even want to bench Chris Wood against Manchester City, you know. It'd be between Clivert and Bowen. That's a tricky one. Bowen, Clivert, or Wood? I mean, it seems crazy to bench Bowen. But Clivert's on pens. Chris Wood's on pens. Okay, it's between Bowen and Clivert. I'll leave that one to you. Strand Larsen considering the fixtures or Marmoush to replace Cunha. That's the thing, right? Like, if you're going now, I mean, ideally in game week 29, the decision that I wanted to make was whether I want, the decision that I would have in game week 29 is to choose two out of the following three. So it's Marmoush, Strand Larsen, and Chris Wood. So if I make that decision right now in game week 28, I sell Mateta for Chris Wood, because he's the one that I would go for now, right? If I had to make a move right now, then I only have to choose between Strand Larsen or Marmoush next week. But delaying the transfer this week just gives me the option of choosing two out of those three. And if somehow, right, I choose not to go with Chris Wood, if I prefer Marmoush as well as Strand Larsen, then I could very well do that. So I do think like it is close between Marmoush and also Strand Larsen. If it's between the two, I'd have to say it depends on your wild card strategy. Like if you do intend to try to delay your wild card as long as possible, maybe a game week 31, or I mean game week 30 wildcard, I would say, is the earliest that makes the most sense. After that, there's 31. You could also do it in 32. But what I'd say is I'd probably lean towards trying to delay it at least to game week 31. Right, 30 for me feels a little bit early, given that was my strategy for the longest time. But given the uncertainty as to what kind of doublers, what kind of games would double in, what kind of teams would double into 32 and as well as 33. I mean, 32 is Newcastle and Crystal Palace, but 33, the doubles are slightly more hard to predict. So because of that, I'm probably going to delay it to 31, in which case you would have to use this forward option for slightly longer. And therefore, if it's between Strand Larsen and Marmoush, I probably think Strand Larsen is the one I'll go for. It's a long answer, but I do think like it depends on your wild card strategy. Give me a moment. Let me just put the stream on Instagram for those who okay. Live now for the game week 28 deadline. All right. Thank you for waiting. Ashton, nice to see you in the chat. Ashton says, looking at the wild card in 31, set up for bench boost 33. Draft doesn't look as nice. If I want $15, I have to go without Arsenal and Liverpool assets. Yeah, that's the reason why it's going to be tricky, right? Because despite Liverpool and Arsenal having a decent enough run during that period, they don't double, and that was always going to be the concern during that period of time. So honestly, like if I was building a wildcard draft right now, which is pretty early, I would say is that you probably won't have 15 doublers, right? I think I would still have some Arsenal assets, some Liverpool assets, in which case you probably don't double, you probably don't bench boost with 15 doublers, which I think is okay, which I think is fine. Have Rodgers, Trent, Salah, Mateta, and Mitchell. Should I free hit in 29? One, two, three, four, five. I mean, how many transfers do you intend to make now in 28 that would remove these players? I think Mateta will be back in 30, by the way. That's based off of what Glasner said. He expects that Mateta will be back for 30. So Salah, Trent, Mateta. I mean, Rodgers and Mitchell for me feels like the ones that you could let go of the easiest. Mitchell you'll keep now in 28 because you have Ipswich. If these are your 5 players and you can get to a team where you can bench Trent, Salah, and Mateta, and then just swap out Rogers and Mitchell in game week 29, I think you could still save the free hit. I think it's more important to free hit in game week 34 because the teams that double in 33 are the ones that would blank in 34. So I would still favor, even if it means taking a hit or two in game week 29, just to field 11 players, I'd probably do that and save the free hit for 34. Would you get Munoz for Robinson / Lewis for free? Might need 2 transfers for next week. I wouldn't get Munoz in this week though, because he blanks in game week 29. Who should I start for game week 28? Waneri or Beto? I'd go Beto. Beto is probably on pens. Would you really start Rogers over Raul Jimenez? I mean, the options, let me scroll back again. So Beto, Semenyo, Raul, and Rogers. My thing with Raul Jimenez is basically Muniz has been playing pretty well. Right, so I do see a case where Raul Jimenez probably gets, 70 minutes. Yes, he is on pens, but it is again against Brighton at the MX. And Brighton recently have been pretty good. So I think it's close. If you prefer to play the penalty taker, then obviously go Raul over Rogers. Ashton says bench boost is maybe a little bit of a trap, considering wildcard 31 to have players who doesn't blank in 34 and free hit 33 seems better. Bench boost can be used in 32 after the wildcard in 31. Yeah, it can, but basically you'll just your bench probably wouldn't have that many double game week players. I think wildcard 31 or wildcard 30 wouldn't look too different. It's just about information and clarity on the teams that double in game week 33. So that would be the main difference between wildcard 30 and 31. Free hit 33 is an interesting conversation. I had to think about that as well. But I think the real draw about the free hit in 33 is you get as many of those double game week players, and thereafter you go back to your team, potentially with your Liverpool as well as your Arsenal assets. It's just the case where if the game week 34 fixtures, again, because there's so much uncertainty as to which teams would be blanking and which teams would actually be playing. Yes, teams like Chelsea, Everton, Tottenham, they all have fixtures in 34, but you need a little bit more to be able to navigate that with just free transfers. If you do free hit in 33, that is. So I do think it's that's the thing with chip strategy right now. Like, it's so tricky to discuss because there's so much up in the air. Please help me. I feel like it's gonna be a week for me. Raul, Isak, Gakpo, Palmer, Salah, Rogers, Dango, and Bumo, Gabriel, Trent, Kirkers, Munoz. I think the team overall looks pretty alright. It's probably a case of whether you just want to make a forward transfer in case Gakpo doesn't start. But if not, I think your team looks, alright on paper. Mbumo, Palmer, Salah, Rogers, Danko looks alright. Your defense as well, I think it's fine. It's more a case of your forwards, whether you want to do something to address those forwards. But even then, I don't think it's absolutely necessary. Depends who's on your bench and also what's your plan for game week 29. Who do I start for game week 28? Waneri or Beto? I go Beto. Good morning. Boo, should I transfer out Cunha or Dango for free? If selling one right now, I think for sure it's Cunha. Best Cunha replacement with 0 in the bank. Let's have a look if Cunha is the same price as Chris Wood. Nah, 0 in the bank. I think then you probably go downwards from there. I think Beto, Strand Larson, the ones you could actually consider. Marmoush also feels a little bit too expensive, right? Yeah, Marmoush is at 7.2 as well. So I don't think you can afford Marmoush. I'd probably go either one of Beto or Strand Larson. Start Otara or Jimenez. Right. So the thing with Dango Otara right now is that I have a fear that Evan Nielsen is going to come back into the team, right, slowly, which also opens up the possibility as well of Evan Nielsen in game week 29, which it also makes a little bit more sense to delay the transfer because Evan Nielsen is going to be a huge differential if he does play in 29. But yeah, I just think with Dango, it's a situation where it's hard to call. Right, so if it's between like Dango and Jimenez, which I'm pretty sure Jimenez is going to start, albeit maybe get 70 to 80 minutes, then I just go Jimenez in that case. With pens, of course. For Tara, Clivert's the one on pens, so I think I would go Jimenez over him. Who to bench from Mbumo, Clivert, Semenyo, Waneri, Isak, and Wood? If I have to choose one out of all of those players, it probably be Waneri. Wondering when to use a triple captain. Wildcard, bench boost, and free hits still available. I think that's a simple answer. You plan your wildcard, bench boost, and free hit based on your preferred strategy, especially once the clarity on the blank game week 34 fixtures as well as the double game week 33 fixtures are out. You can plan when you want to free hit, bench boost, and wildcard, and then your triple captain just slots into any free double game week that remains. And if there's no free double game week that remains, then obviously any other single game week with good fixtures for, I say, Salah or Haaland could even be used. I say Haaland because I imagine that Man City are going to focus and push on for the last stretch of this Premier League season and try to secure top 4 for Champions League next season. Isak will not play. He'll be rested for the final, in my opinion. Yeah, so if Isak doesn't play, which is possible, even though he's trained the whole week, then I get Waneri and Robinson off the bench. But I just can't bring myself to sell Mateta for someone like Wood. And then after that, if Isak plays, I have Waneri on the bench. I'm perfectly okay with Waneri coming in. Right, especially after 7-1 against PSV, Arsenal looked pretty alright. So, yeah, I'm in a situation where I'm probably gonna gamble on Isak. West Ham away isn't super straightforward as well. Robinson or Mikalenko this week, I'd probably go Mikalenko. Yeah, I'd probably go Mikalenko this week. Bench Clivert or Bowen. I mean, this is the tricky one just now. If it's between these two, I would still probably tend towards starting Clivert and benching Bowen, but really benching Bowen just sounds absolutely crazy. With all the flags, I have no mood for dinner. That's a good one, Ian. 2 free transfers. Team has Ilanga instead of Bowen, João Pedro instead of Vissa, Marmoush instead of Mateta. Who should I don't think you need to make any transfers, right? Assuming that you have the rest of my team, aside from the players that you mentioned, I think your team's good. Is there any other reason no one is talking about Wildcard 32 instead of Wildcard 31? Wildcard 32 is possible. I think the main reason why it's maybe not as popular is because if you wildcard in 32, you're probably going to want to fill it with as many Crystal Palace and Newcastle players because you want to maximize the double game week there. But that also means, and it's highly likely, that Crystal Palace and Newcastle are the ones with a single game week in 33. In which case, you wouldn't have as many double game week players in 33, despite getting the full 6 for 32. So that's, I think, one of the trade-offs for wildcard 32, which makes it a little bit less popular than a wildcard 31, which you probably will have both, right? You probably firstly get a clearer picture of double game week 33 as well as blank game week 34, and you can just plan accordingly, have as many doublers for that entire period. But in 32, the main advantage is that you have to have at least your 3 Crystal Palace and 3 Newcastle. So that kind of limits you as well. I have Rogers, Trent, Salah, Mateta, and Mitchell. Should I free hit in 29? Oh yeah, I've answered this one. I probably would still save it. Hall, Luis Diaz replacement for game week 29 and beyond. If it is for a defender, I probably go Nuri. If it's a midfielder, I'm pretty sure it'd still be someone like Clivert. If you don't have. If not, an outside shout, which I've had a look at. I don't really know what people think about this differential pick, but I think he could be quite good over the next few weeks. It's actually Morgan Gibbs-White. But really only the fixtures start to get good from 29 onwards. Aftab says, when are you going to play the wild card? So for me, it depends. I firstly need to look at the FA Cup fixtures first, which again would only have been played after... Sorry, I need to look at the FA Cup results, which I'll only know 2 days before the game week 30 deadline. Once that is done, I can decide whether I think it's better to wildcard in 30 or 31. And then after that, I'll plan my strategies around that, which is likely going to be bench boost 33 and free hit 34. Right, but I'm not going to rule out the possibility of free hit 33, again, depending on how the fixtures fall. So really, I think it's hard to actually nail down a strategy right now. So it's just, yeah, I mean, all I know is the FA Cup fixtures are going to be huge in terms of planning for my strategy, right? Which I think for the rest of all the other FPL managers like you guys as well, is going to be the same, right? We wait for the FA Cup fixtures and then we'll see what happens. Which is also why I think it's a little bit better if you're able to firstly save transfers now, wait a little bit more, and also if possible, just try to kind of go for players who have a longer term horizon. Like I would say Beto, he's good for 28 as well as 29, but from game week 30 onwards, the fixtures are really bad. And then if you want to wildcard in 31 or 32, for example, you have to play Beto for those bad fixtures in 30 and 31, then that's not ideal. So again, it depends on when you intend to wildcard. If you intend to delay it slightly, that's why I say like Strand Larsen could be someone with better fixtures over a longer horizon. Best budget midfielder apart from Clivert. Apart from Clivert, again, as I've said, I do like Morgan Gibbs-White. That's the thing. If not, I think Bowen is a decent shout as well. Becky, nice to see you. Gonna roll another week, but the triple captain or not Salah this week. I think for sure not the triple captain Salah this week. There's a little bit too much of a risk as to whether he'll get the full 90. I think it's perfectly possible. I see a world where Salah gets taken off slightly earlier. And I think that's not what you want when you're playing a triple captainship. Wood or Isak? I still start Isak. I think it's a case where if Isak plays, he gets at least 70 to 80 minutes. If he doesn't play, he's probably not going to get substituted on. It'd probably be a decision that they're taking to rest him the whole of game week 28 and save him for the finals. So yeah, I mean, it's a case where I think you start Isak, bench Wood, and then if Isak doesn't start, you get Wood off your bench. Is Evan Nielsen worth a punt? Not right now, because I think there's a bit too much uncertainty, which is also the value in waiting just a little bit more. Rogers or Semenyo, but with Semenyo, I'd already have 3 Bournemouth players. So this is a case where I would probably diversify. I'd probably go Rogers just to spread your risk. Should I triple captain Salah this week? I probably wouldn't. What do you think of bringing in Reece James? I don't think I can bring myself to recommend Reece James. Bench Rogers or Dango. I would bench Dango. Play Pickford or Verbruggen. I think I would go Pickford. I think I'd go Pickford there. Oh, that reminds me. I do have to kind of swap my... Yeah, that reminds me. So Verbruggen is my intended keeper. It's just that I haven't set my team up well. Right, so yeah, captaincy is the only other decision that I have left, but Verbruggen is probably going to be my keeper. I probably should have done it a bit earlier. Okay, let me see where I left off in the chat. Give me a moment. Is it worth a hit to sell Hall for a new defender or play Lugadin? Who would you suggest as a new defender if I sell Hall? I have Gabriel and Trent. If you're bringing in a defender this week, I think I'm pretty sure I'd bring 8 Nuri in. But is it worth to sell Hall for a hit? Nah, I'll probably just play Lugadin. Are you bringing Haaland in? I don't have any concrete plans to bring Haaland in, but by rolling my transfer, I also open up the possibility of going Haaland next week. So I'm not going to rule it out, but I would say that I'm not super keen. Or at least not as keen as a couple of other FPL managers that I've seen. Bench Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Dango chasing. So Captain Bumo. I wouldn't Captain Bumo if I'm chasing. If I'm chasing, I think you cap Palmer. Bench Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Dango. I think I would always favor benching the defender and starting the attacker instead. So I would go benching Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Have Henderson and Fabianski. Should I just go without a keeper next week? Save a transfer. See, the thing is, it probably will still be only a -2 if you take a hit to replace your keeper, because you minimally get 2 appearance points. I think it's worth just gambling a little bit and going for a keeper that at least has good enough fixtures for the next few. I'll probably still take the hit at least. Should I use my triple captain now so I can use the assistant manager and a bench boost at the doubles? I think it's pretty likely that looking at how many chips some people have remaining, that you may have to triple captain in a single game week. I just don't think that now on Salah is what I do, just because there's so much speculation as to whether he won't get the full game, whether he'd be taken off early and things like that. That's not what you want when you're playing your triple captain, even if it's a single game week fixture. If they were not having Paris Saint-Germain next week, midweek, then I probably would recommend the triple captain now to get it out of the way. But the fact is that they will be playing in the Champions League, so I would probably say not to triple captain. Pickford in goal. Should I start Kirkes or Mikalenko alongside Gabriel and Trent? I'd probably go Kirkes then. I do think Kirkes is slightly more attacking than Mikalenko. I don't free hit in 29, so what would be the chip strategy? I still have triple captain, bench boost, and wildcard. So it's exactly these kind of chip strategy questions that is the hardest to answer at this point, because we don't have enough information. So what I'd say is just keep it flexible, right? Have a rough strategy, which could look something like wildcard in 31 or 30, and then bench boost in 33, free hit in 34. Have it as a structure, but don't kind of make too many moves that commit you to that strategy in case we need to pivot a little bit when the fixtures come out. First time on stream, but long time Instagram follower. Nice to see you, Omar. Thank you for coming over onto YouTube. I have one free transfer with Isak, Cunha, and Mateta. I want to roll and get Haaland next week, or should I just get a striker? If Isak is rested, I play 4-5-1 if I roll. I'm in a similar position. Right? And what I'd say is that I'm rolling a transfer. I think it also depends who you're going to get into your team if Isak doesn't play. So have a look at that. Isak, Cunha, and Mateta though. I would say that for your case, because there's both Cunha and Mateta, I probably lean towards selling Cunha first. So the replacements that you could look at, Marmoush, Wood I would have as the first choice. And then there's also Beto and Strand Larsen. I probably sell Cunha in your position actually. Just realized you have no Bournemouth mids. Yes, I made a calculated decision, which I hope will work out, to go Bowen instead of Clivert. So I don't have any Bournemouth midfielders, so they could really kill my rank. But then again, over the course of 3 game weeks minimally that I would have Bowen, which is 27, 28, 29, I compared the Bournemouth fixtures. I'm actually quite happy to just have Bowen here. So it's a straight shootout between Bowen and Clivert for me. Let's see what happens with him. Would you sell Cunha to Beto or Wood? If I got Beto, you could get Foden as a punt next week and Haaland. With Wood, I have to go for someone like Ilanga. I don't mind that Beto kind of route that you're suggesting, but the only thing I would say with Beto is that he's only good for 28 and 29. From 30 onwards, I don't think you'd be happy to play him. Isak to Marmoush for free, I don't think it's a move I'd make this week. Damsgaard or Waneri play 1. I would say Waneri. Best double game week picks for 32. Mateta is probably going to be back, so he's going to be up there. There's him, there's Eze, there's Munoz from Crystal Palace. From Newcastle, assuming Isak is fit then, there'll be Isak. Gordon will be back by 32 as well. And then one of the defenders. You could go Livramento, because Lewis Hall is now out for the season. Should I use a triple captain? Oh, I've answered this one. Bowen and Rogers on the bench. Still go Wood to Mateta this week or just roll? If you have Bowen and Rogers on the bench, put them in, and I honestly think you could roll then. Transfer out Iliman Njai for Marmoush. I think this is a move I would do. All right. Let's speed through some of your last few questions before we call it a day on the stream, and I'll move over to Telegram. By the way, if you guys aren't already, there's a Telegram group chat. It's completely free to join, that I tend to move over to after the stream just to chat. So if you're keen, you can scan the QR code and join the Telegram chat. Play Delap or Rogers. I'd say Delap. Robinson and Mykolenko, which one to start? I would start Mykolenko ahead of Robinson. Is Mateta fine? Mateta is only going to be back earliest game week 30. Which subject do you study? I studied accounting when I was in university. Now I'm working now. Bissaka, Neco Williams, or Robinson in. If it's to start, I'll probably start Robinson out of the three. Bench Semenyo, Trossard, Beto, or Wood. It'd be either one of Trossard or Semenyo. I would start Wood and Beto because both are on pins. Kirkers or Robinson? For now, I prefer Kirkers ahead of Robinson. And I think it'd probably be this way. Wissa or Wood? I'd start Wood over Wissa this week. Matthew, if I missed your question, please drop it in the chat again. Cunha to Marmouche or Wood? I would go Cunha to Chris Wood. Clivert or Dango? Clivert for sure. Dango out for Bowen. I don't mind that. Though I don't think it's necessary as well. It's a luxury. It feels a bit more of a luxury transfer, that one. Mateta probably won't play, but he'll be good at least from 30 onwards. That's what we expect. Aina or Mykolenko, drop Watkins or Isak. So if it's between Aina or Mykolenko, I'd start Mykolenko. Drop Watkins or Isak. I think if you have both, you start them, right? You start both of them. If it's to sell, though, I also don't think you sell either of them this week. I think you just keep both of them in your starting 11. Robinson or Kirkes, who to play? I would play Kirkes instead of Robinson. Vissa or Strand Larsen? I prefer Strand Larsen. So John is a good one. Bench 1 amongst Bowen, Wood, Clivert, Semenyo, Isak, and Vissa. Probably Semenyo, you know. Probably Semenyo. I have Hall, Isak, Cunha, Salah, Trent, Rogers with one free transfer. Am I forced to free hit? Nah, I think you could still roll. I think you could still take a couple of hits to get to 11 players. I think you save your free hit. Solanke to change Cunha. Solanke is a bit of a doubt. Sujan says, completed my university fast. I've been working for a couple years already, though. Would Haaland be worth a -8 next week? I think definitely not. If you're holding permanently till the end of the season, I still don't think it's worth a -8 to bring him in next week. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do it for -8 at least. Keeping him to the end of the season is still worth considering, but the entry point, not necessary for a -8 next week. I think 30 for a -4 is even better than 29 with a -8, if that makes sense. What do you think about Trent as a differential captain? I don't mind it, actually. I don't mind it. Yeah, I think I don't mind Trent as a differential captain. Palmer and Mbumo. If you're talking about captaincy, I'd probably go Palmer over Mbumo. Who to drop? Watkins, Isak, or Ilanga? Playing to have Wood as one of the strikers already. Then Ilanga. Moneri to Gibbs White, good or bad? I think not necessary. Not necessary this week for sure. Should I sell Haaland for Palmer? Not something I would do. Wan-Bissaka or Castagna? Wan-Bissaka. Start sells or Pickford? I go Pickford. All right. So there we go with today's stream. 300, if I can get my words out, 300 votes, 80% on Salah. So it's pretty clear. For myself as well, I think it'll still be on Salah. I doubt I would change it. So for my team, it'd probably just be Waneri coming in for Mateta, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna roll the transfer, and we'll see how this week goes. Let me just make sure I've locked in the team. So for Bruggen in goal, Gabriel, Kirkes and Trent, Bowen, Salah, Mbumo, Palmer, Salah captain, Palmer vice, Vissa, Mateta, Isak up front, but Waneri is probably gonna come in for him. So there we go. Thank you very much for joining me on the game week on the Game Week 28 deadline stream. Let me just make sure. All right. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining me for the Game Week 28 deadline stream. And I will catch you guys for Game Week 29 content, blank Game Week 29 content. I'll try to get as many videos out as possible, but as you guys know, I'm planning for my wedding. So basically, I'll try my best to get as much content out as possible. If I'm not able to, you can always find me on Instagram, or you can reach me on the Telegram chat up there. That's also one of the reasons why I set up the Telegram chat. So basically, if I'm not able to get videos out, you guys can still reach me. So scan it if you want to join, and that's pretty much it. I'll leave you guys here for the Game Week 28 deadline. I hope you guys get green arrows, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.